I've been hard up for a good spacefaring game. I tried to get into No Man's Sky a few times, to no avail. We'll all be dead before Star Citizen is completed. Starfield was mostly good for a while, but it got kinda boring. Then, a few months back, I think it was during Steam's Next Fest, I came across the demo for Jumpship, a mission-based co-op FPS. Drake and I played the demo, and came away excited for more. Unfortunately, by the time we got around to playing the demo again, it was no longer available, so we chucked the game onto our Steam wishlists and went about our respective business. A few months and one name change later, Jump Space was released in early access thanks to the hard work of the folks at Keepsake Games. Founded in 2021, Keepsake Games is based in Sweden on the island of Södermalm. The studio began with 5 industry veterans with over 10 years of experience each, and have all had some involvement in very successful cooperative titles I'm sure you've either heard of or played previously. We've got Daniel Kaplan, founding member of Mojang and co-founder at Coffee Stain, Philip Koulianos and Klaes Engdahl, who are founding members of Hazelight, another founding member of Mojang, Tobias Molstam, who is also the technical director at Tokaboka, and, last but not least, Henrik Alfredson, who worked on Mirror's Edge and is product owner at Tokaboka. Keepsake currently consists of just 16 people, and whether you consider them on individual merit or as part of larger productions, you should now have a sense of the talent involved in Jump Space. As was the case with my Witchfire Early Access breakdown, I have to preface this video the same way. This is an early access title, and, as is standard for early access games, many things will get added and many things can change. The roadmap for Jump Space is already up to view, and it's a long road to 1.0, so just keep in mind that we are very early on in this game's lifetime. Now, this is a co-op focused game. Playing solo is possible, but you would make very little progress, and it's nowhere near as fun as co-op, so if you have friends, bring them. The game has a server browser if you want to take your chances with randoms, and the official Jump Space Discord is available for you to find some crewmates as well. You're given the option to play the tutorial or to go straight into the game, which is an option that more games need to have. The tutorial does exactly what you'd expect, but after I'm done, you'll be able to skip it with confidence. Story-wise, things are very simple. Humans were getting just a bit too numerous, and the Earth was nearing capacity. I guess this is some point in the future because anyone who was able to do so decided to escape Earth and head to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism.
Space!
In the years since humanity's expansion into the stars, a lot of processes and roles like cargo handling, ship navigation, security, and other jobs were delegated to robotic companions. Drones, walkers, things like that. One day, a virus takes hold of every machine, granting them heightened awareness, like one step below actual sentience. With this higher level of thinking, the machines decided that the new game plan was to destroy all humans. It was like that scene from Transformers. Machines now roam the galaxy looking for humans to snuff out, and humanity is scattered, doing their best to hide or, in some cases, marshalling forces to fight back. Your camp picks up a broadcast from what amounts to the start of an actual resistance, and you decide to be the one to make contact. En route to the rendezvous, you get jumped by some bots and crash land on a desolate planet with no hope of escaping. Until you find a crashed ship containing a functioning helmsman's core. Something like a ship-centered supercomputer that is somehow unaffected by the corruption virus. You two work together to get a ship functioning again, and you agree to take the core, named Iris, with you back to base. Iris says she'd be very helpful in your ongoing efforts to find and aid the Resistance Coalition, and she sounds like she means it, so you and your crew get to work. Your base of operations, simply called the Hangar, is where you and your crew plan and prepare for missions. Your hangar personnel include Dockmaster Barrett, who specializes in ship maintenance and customization, and her area displays what ship components you have access to. Buddy also hangs out over there. Buddy is another bot unaffected by the corruption virus and is exceptionally handy. He can function as another crewmate when on missions, since he can resupply your ship with ammo when needed, as well as man the guns if no crewmate is already in the gunner's seat.
Target destroyed. One less to go.
Then we have Quartermaster Bozzy, who manages suit customization and, at some point in a later update, a shop where you can spend credits to buy supplies to start with in your next mission. Next, there's Professor Vosk, who is a little weird, but he helps get your ship set up with artifacts, and he will likely get a store similar to Bozzy at some point, so we need him. Lastly, we have the Galaxy map, which Iris manages. On the Galaxy map, you can select a mission to undertake. First, you choose a region of space. Regions will tell you what range of difficulty the missions within it will be, as well as noting new ship components to be found, ship hulls to be salvaged, and map fragments to find. Map fragments allow you to unlock additional regions of space to explore. Once you pick a region, you can pick a mission. There are currently only a handful of mission types in Jump Space: Sabotage, Artillery Support, Distress Call, Vault Breach, 2 variations of Cargo Retrieval, and 2 variations of Salvage Run. Mission tooltips will show you the most pertinent information regarding the mission: the mission type, the mission's challenge rating, mission duration, both in terms of estimated time to completion and how many jumps it will take you to get from start to finish, and the minimum mission rewards consisting of XP to level your character, credits used to buy things, and materia ingots used to upgrade ship components. Your character level currently doesn't do much more than let other players know how long you've been playing. There are no level-specific equipment items or upgrades as far as I can tell. Come to think of it, it could be that character level allows you to find higher marks of guns while in missions, but I can't say for sure. Pro tip: mission challenge ratings can be used as a guide for how many people you should have with you on mission. Trivial missions are tuned for solo play, easy missions are sufficient for 2 people, moderate missions are best for 3 people, and so on. Moderate missions have rocked Drake and I a couple times, and we even managed to beat a hard mission, but I refuse to try a challenge rating 5 mission, which is probably called Extreme or Death or some shit. We can fight tooth and nail to the last man, but failing a mission means you forfeit everything you've found so far in that mission, and you come home with nothing, which, after more than an hour of playtime, hurts quite a bit. Mission difficulty is more than challenge rating though. Something like Artillery Support will stretch any crew thin between ground assaults and constant ship combat, to say nothing of what could happen in the sectors leading up to the mission destination. We'll get into it. Once you lock in what mission you want to play, and everyone's ready, you can head out. For a nice example of a mission, I'll do a Trivial 1 Vault Breach using the DT-4 Dart ship. The Dart is the only other ship you can find currently, and while it's much smaller and more minimally armed than the C-3 Catamaran, it's also a lot faster. Once you've entered the mission, you and your team can plan your mission route via the jump map. Mission sectors can have various obstacles: hostile blockades you need to sabotage on foot, squads of ships you need to eliminate, treasures or supplies you can get out to loot, etc. Sector descriptions will tell you what rewards to expect to find and what kind of fight you're in for before you even get to them. So, read before you jump. In this instance, the sector I'm choosing has a refinery I'll need to infiltrate on foot, and then it's a straight shot to the mission destination. Once your course is set, it's time to jump space.
He said it!
Upon entering a new sector, you or another crewmate should hit the scanner. The scanner pulls up a map of the sector, allowing you to mark enemies or points of interest for looting. Right now, I just have a handful of sentry turrets to deal with before I reach the refinery. Enemies are marked with a red diamond, and when they are becoming alerted to your presence, an outer diamond will fill. Once you see a small white reticle somewhere around their red diamond, you're within range for your weapons to hit them, so open fire. The white reticle moves in accordance with how fast the enemy is moving, allowing you to accurately lead your shots, so ship gunners should always aim for that white reticle. With the turrets destroyed, I'm clear to proceed to the refinery. I head to the ship door and jet drive out. While on foot and not in the immediate vicinity of any ground-based exploration areas, jet driving allows you to fly as fast as humanly possible. You can leave your ship and jet drive to a mission objective separately from the rest of your crew. You can stealthily loot a buoy or a shipwreck while your own ship is safely in cover. You can grapple onto enemy ships and outright destroy them, or in some cases board larger ships and fight to disable them and loot a ship component from them. It's a lot of fun. Back to our mission, the refinery has some bots outside, so I start blasting. The gunplay in Jump Space is very smooth on keyboard and mouse, as is expected, and using a controller is just as good. While shooting bots, I saw some shots come from behind me, and it was now that I discovered that when you're on a solo mission, Buddy can come with you on foot. He can also revive you if you blow yourself up, but we're not going to talk about that. Once inside the refinery, I can begin overriding security protocols, a sequence of running around, hitting buttons, or tuning consoles while fighting off enemy reinforcements. It happens a lot. After the sequence is complete, you can open the door to the loot room and disable the jammer, preventing your ship from jumping to the next sector. Every hostile sector or space has a jammer, whether it's on the ground or on a moving ship, and you can't leave the sector until the jammer is disabled or destroyed. In some instances, you can finish a sector, disable the jammer, and if you don't leave the sector fast enough, additional enemy ships can spawn with another jammer, so it's best not to linger. Once I crack the loot room, I find 3 artifacts and 3 ship components. On foot, you can only carry 3 items in addition to your multi-tool pistol. Those items can be guns, consumables, or loot. Fortunately, most on-foot locations have a cargo transporter you can use to transmat any items directly back to your ship's cargo bay. Your ship also has cargo transporters on the exterior beside any ship entry doorways, in case you have to send some items down to the cargo bay in a hurry. Artifacts are plugins that can buff your ship or on-foot effectiveness in a lot of different ways. You can slot 5 artifacts, and most artifacts have levels to them, allowing you to sacrifice other artifacts you may not need in order to increase the benefits of artifacts you already have installed. Artifacts have to be installed or sacrificed prior to leaving a sector, otherwise they will disappear. Ship components are exactly like they sound. Ship loadouts consist of components: a sensor array, an engine, a pilot cannon for the pilot to fire, multi-turret systems and special weapons which buddy or a crew gunner can fire, a reactor, and 2 auxiliary reactors. All components have a physical part which is plugged in somewhere on the ship, and a power grid segment which has to be installed properly on the spaces provided by your reactor. All of your component pieces have to properly fit onto the colored squares in order to receive power and be able to function. Upgrading your reactor changes some of your power grid squares to protected power, meaning those components are safe from onboard radiation or other malfunctions. In heavy ship combat, specific ship components can be damaged, and if they don't get repaired in time, you will lose them, forcing you to spend materia to craft a replacement in order to use that component again. One time this happened to us, and Buddy was doing his best firing special weapons while I did my best to fly evasively, and Drake ran around like a madman repairing ship systems so we wouldn't explode. It was a stressful time. Situations like that are part of the reason having more crewmates is essential to success. Back on track, I set my next sector on the jump map and reached my mission destination. Same as before, I hit the scanner to mark all enemy ships and got to work. Destroyed ships can leave materia behind for you to collect.
Materia collected. Empty collectors to be treated.
Materia is the lifeblood of your ship, accumulating in materia canisters on the exterior of your ship. Every sector or two, someone needs to go grab the canisters and disassemble them in the cargo bay. Materia is consumed by the ship's assembler, which can assemble things like ship shield repair units, ship core repairs, ship ammo crates, some guns in case of emergency, consumables such as med stims to heal you, or on-foot ammo crates to replenish your guns, and more. Materia also allows you to use your ship's med station to heal, or the ammo station on board the catamaran, in addition to the catamaran's cantina, where you can cook pizza and have a drink. Disassembling various items can reward various levels of materia, so be sure to sort through your cargo and disassemble anything you don't need to keep your materia reserves healthy. Anyway, I destroyed all ships in the area and set down at the mining complex housing the vault I'm here to breach. Buddy and I made our way inside after having a look around for crates to loot. We didn't find anything good. I reached the vault and loaded the cargo into the transporter so we could GTFO. I could only hold 1 crate and place the other 2 on the cargo mat for transport, but turns out it was a trap.
Everything has gone into lockdown. It's a trap. Get out of there.
The cargo on the mat gets destroyed and enemies start flooding the place, along with an impending visit from enemy ships happening shortly. Buddy and I shoot our way out of the facility, occasionally getting stopped by security doors Iris needs to hack open, and we make it back outside right when enemy reinforcements arrive. I grapple into the ship door and take to the skies to destroy the ship jammer, and after a dozen more ships go boom, I jump us out of the sector and we're home free. I may not have gotten any bonus cargo, but the mission was a success and that's all that matters. Now's a good time to mention, any whole ship components you bring back with you that you already own will be converted to materia ingots. Materia ingots are used to upgrade any ship components you have access to. Guns do more damage, reactors get more protected power squares on their power grids, engines make your speed and maneuverability better, etc. Mark III is currently the upgrade cap for components, so if you want to upgrade them all, you will need a whole lot of ingots. When you finish a mission and head back to the hangar, you keep anything you were carrying, like guns or consumables. You can't store them currently, but you can bring them with you to the next mission. Since you can't currently buy guns, supplies, or artifacts ahead of a mission, your held items are the best leg up you can have on the next mission. If you go down and die in a mission, you will lose everything you were carrying, save for your multi-tool, and your ship will lose health, so try not to die. That was a trivial one mission, so it was only 20 minutes and easy to do solo. Harder missions will of course provide harder challenges. Enemy reinforcements will always be on the horizon, ready to intercept you as you try to leave a sector. Space hazards like asteroid storms or solar flares will damage the ship and start fires on board that someone will need to extinguish. Some enemy ships can deploy mines which, if they latch onto your ship, have to be destroyed by a crewmate, otherwise they will release bot intruders right into your ship interior, which is obviously not good. Just remember, there are no challenges a good crew can't overcome, so call your friends, or make some friends, and take on the Legion of Steel together. Now it's time for Review Bombing. This is the part where I go, wait, this game's status on the Steam store isn't overwhelmingly positive? I grabbed 3 reviews right from Jumpspace's store page, and they're almost not worth reading, but I already started this segment, so it's too late now. First up, from The Real Juzz. DT4 Dart. Drake hates the Dart too, and I can't really defend it either. It's smaller and faster, best for a 2 or 1 man crew. Fine. Why is there only one entry door on the left side of the ship? This makes the Dart awful for quick entries and exits, and when enemies or space hazards are bearing down on you, wasted time is not at all ideal. Hopefully they retool it or allow for some mild ship structure customization in the future. Our next review is from Lostry. Really interesting idea, but it gets repetitive surprisingly quickly. Every mission felt the same, things felt hollow and AI generated somehow. Just a bit soulless overall. Refunded it, but I'll keep an eye on it. They need to add actual voice actors. I'm sick and tired of AI this and AI that in games now. It's fine, it's just a placeholder. My refund is now also a placeholder. I will replace it with a real purchase when you replace AI with the real thing. I dug up an old post from the Steam community back when Jump Space was Jump Ship, and it confirms AI is used for voices as a temporary placeholder, and only voices. It sounds like once the game is further along and nearing official launch, real voice actors will be brought in. Last but not least, we have Suspense. Dozens of games does everything this game does, but better. Even if it gets fleshed out over 5 years of early access, I doubt it'll be worth your time over other games. It's extremely bare bones, gets really repetitive and grindy. Solo mode is nearly unplayable for half the missions and it doesn't tell you which ones. The BUD3 bot that is supposed to help you just wastes all of your ammo and does whatever the hell he wants. You can't order him to do anything. It also requires a connection at all times and doesn't autosave mid-expedition. So if you get disconnected from their broke-ass servers, you can lose nearly an hour and a half of work. The second ship is half-baked and poorly designed and shouldn't even be in the game yet, considering how unfinished it is. Play Everspace or Elite Dangerous or Warframe or Space Engineers or No Man's Sky or freaking Spore. Skip this. It's too late for me to get a refund, but it's not too late for you to not buy this. I understand the gripes about the repetitive nature of Jump Space as it exists right now. As I said in the beginning of this video, there are other space games that are larger and have been out way longer. Good news is, each genre of video games has hundreds of entries, and different games scratch different itches for different people. Jump Space scratched the itches of over 250,000 people, and although early access player numbers tend to wax and wane, I'm sure this game will do just fine. I already went into detail about solo missions being possible but not recommended if you want to make any headway, since, it's a co-op focused game. Lastly, I've not had any connectivity issues or latency whatsoever in game, and I will address the connection always required bit momentarily. That's about it for Jump Space, currently. There are 4 galaxy regions you can unlock and play missions in, 9 mission types, 2 ships, 26 ship components, 8 player weapons, 27 types of enemy units, and only about a dozen main and side quests. I'm currently 22 hours in, and I'm only missing a handful of components, which I plan on getting. The roadmap for Jump Space's foreseeable future is quite extensive, with the first content drop due a few weeks from the time this video goes up. Jump Space, as it is, has a very strong foundation, and with some more mission and game mechanic variations, could very well be the most fun spacefaring co-op adventure of all time. But that's just my 2 cents. Jump Space is available now in early access on Steam for the low price of $20. I'm sure once it reaches 1.0 and officially launches, it will get a price increase, so if you like what you've seen, buy it now, enjoy yourself, and support the developers. Be sure to like and subscribe, and stick around after this to see what other videos may interest you. This has been Cygnus Jason of the Resistance Coalition, and our mission is clear. We will stop the corruption virus and put an end to the Legion of Steel.